Leaky gut and lipedema. Some of you may have heard about this from Dr. Herbst or other researchers in the field that are talking about leaky gut and how it may contribute to lipedema. And I thought this is a really good topic. Somebody asked me a question about it after having an appointment with Dr. Herbst, and I thought, ooh, let's touch on this because this is a really good thing to talk about that I think a lot of people probably wonder about and maybe don't know enough about. So what is leaky gut? Leaky gut is when the permeability of the intestinal lining changes and it allows toxins to get into our bloodstream that intestinal lining were warding off previously. So it is a loosening in the tight gap junctions of the gut lining. So if you think about your intestinal lining tight like our compression pantyhose, nothing's getting in or out of that sucker. But if you think about a fishnet pantyhose, the tight gap junctions over time can loosen. And as you can imagine, the permeability changes because it's not tight like this, it's loosening. And so these exposures to specific toxins now can get into the bloodstream. And that's what leaky gut essentially is in terms of the physical nature. What does it have to do with lipedema, and how does it cause symptoms for us? Well, the first thing is that your body is going to send off all kinds of inflammatory triggers when things are in our bloodstream that shouldn't be there in the levels maybe that are present. So this could be exposures, like I said, to the environmental toxins or to specific foods and things like that. Maybe you have a gluten sensitivity or celiac and you've now had exposure there. Maybe you've eaten a lot of chemicals that doesn't agree with your body, things like that. So that can cause histamines, cytokines, all these inflammatory markers to go crazy, all these inflammatory cells rather, to go crazy and try and ward off the offender in your blood. The other thing is that this over time triggers GI distress. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but it can really cause gut dysbiosis, and people can start to have issues with nutrient absorption because that absorptive surface is changing and things are going in and out that maybe shouldn't. And it can lower your overall immunity. So you're triggered with the inflammatory cytokines and histamines and things like that. But overall, it can suppress our immunity because your immunity is established in your gut. It's our first line of immune defense. So those are sort of the three big things that happen. And all of those things lead to chronic systemic inflammation, which we know we need to reduce with lipedema. So that's sort of the tie in there. How does this happen? The way that leaky gut happens, it can be exposure definitely to toxins like I talked about, foods or environmental. It can also be from extremely low fiber diets for some people because your gut thrives on fiber. That's how your microbiome and the gut bugs therein survive. So when we do diets that take us super low in fiber, you're not giving the gut bugs a chance to thrive. Eating fermented foods specifically is so great for your microbiome, by the way. But most Americans eat between 10 and 13 grams of fiber daily, and we need at least 20 grams of fiber, 25 for most people. And that's a bare minimum, ladies. So 20 to 25 grams of fiber a day, bare minimum, is really what we need to keep the health of our microbiome where it needs to be. The last thing is that these low fiber diets cause a decrease in short chain fatty acids because our gut bacteria ferment the fiber into short chain fatty acids. When we have more short chain fatty acids circulating, we have less inflammation. So that sort of brings it full circle so that you understand. So the takeaway here is that you need to make sure you are prioritizing fiber. Be respectful of your gut because it is working hard for you to keep things out of your bloodstream and keep your inflammation low. And we know that triggering the inflammatory process with regards to this whole leaky gut process can make lipedema worse. So there you have it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll talk to you soon. Great question, by the way. Bye-bye.